Hey, squad mates, Brother Ed here. Before we get started today's episode, I just want to apologize for the delays. My daughter has had band, and I'm a band booster, so I've been busy with bands and competitions, so it's kind of delayed me. And then apparently Internet Archives, where I host my shows at, or at least my audio files, apparently they were hacked, and so I wasn't able to upload new episodes for a while. But hopefully everything's fixed one way or the other. They're still down while I'm recording this intro, but either hopefully it's back up soon, or I may end up heading this elsewhere. So if you see a bunch of these old episodes reappear in your feed, you'll know that more than likely I had to re-upload elsewhere. Hopefully Internet Archive comes back up so I can re-upload my files, but we'll see. So enough dilly-dallying. Let's get on with today's show.
Task Force X is an off-the-books government strike team made up of convicts with no hope for release, serving as expendable agents for impossible missions.
And I am Aaron Moss, a.k.a. Brotherhead, your host, Task Force X, and I'm here to chronicle the tales of the Suicide Squad.
I'm Amanda Waller. I'm here to indoctrinate you convicts into our special forces. Nobody screws the wall!
Let's go ahead and get started. Hey, true believers, Brotherhead back with episode 67, if my math's right, of Task Force X. This month, we're looking at 3 issues of Suicide Squad. So since it's the last 3 parts of this storyline, what I'm going to do is read off the credits for all 3 issues because they're pretty similar, and then we'll just look at all 3 issues. All right, so let's go and get started. So this is, as I said, episode 67. We're looking at issues 55 through 57 of Suicide Squad. So for 55, the cover date was July of 1991. The on-sale date, June 4th, 1991. The cover price, $1. The title of this was called Dead Man's Hand. As for issue 56, that cover date was August of 1991. The on-sale date was July 2nd of 1991. This issue is called Dragon's Teeth. And Suicide Squad number 57, cover date was September of 1991. The on-sale date, August the 6th of 1991. And this issue is entitled Dragon's Blood. The writer for all 3 issues was John Ostrander and Kim Yell. Penciler, Jeff Isherwood. The penciler was Robert Campanella for all 3 issues. Issue 56 also had Thomas Mandrake helping out. I'm not sure why that one issue had him helping out on it, but he did. Again, this is according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics. The letter was Todd Klein. The colorist, Tom J. Craw. The cover for all 3 issues was done by Jeff Isherwood and Carl Kiesel. And the editor for these issues was Dan Raspler. And all 3 issues was reprinted in Suicide Squad, the Dragons Horde trade paperback, which was released in 2018. So that is the cover, not the cover, but the information on these issues. So now let's go ahead and jump into the issues themselves, because that's what we do on this show. So first up, we're going to look at issue 55. The cover of this one, I personally like this one. We have Amanda Waller laying on the ground, not moving. We have a couple hands holding guns firing, and leaping up away from Amanda is the new Adam, who we found out last issue was Adam Cray, Senator Cray's son that was killed by, I forget now, it was either Deadshot or Flag back in issue 24, if I'm not mistaken, of this very own series. We got the Suicide Squad title along the top with the subheading, The Dragons Horde. Again, it's got this little logo, trade dress, whatever, for the this storyline. Very nice. It's like an Asian writing of the Dragons Horde with a Asian dragon looped around. I really like this cover. Again, I'm a big fan of the Atom, even though we found out that this isn't Ray Palmer, and more on that to come in later episodes. But since we found out this isn't Ray Palmer, I still like it. I like Adam Cray. I think he's an interesting, he's in quotes, a new character for the character. And I like the mystery at first of, they said the Atom was killed, or Ray Palmer was killed. Then we have this new guy show up and we've been wondering. So I do like that we finally got a reveal of who he actually is. And I like him. He doesn't have a normal superhero costume. He's just got a, camo pants with a green vest, a black muscle t-shirt, I guess, gloves, and a black face mask that lets his brown hair exposed. It's a very nice costume. I like it. I mean, I prefer the Atom, just his regular costume, just because it's what I'm used to and I like. Both his original costume, all 3 of his costumes, his original costume, the Sword of the Atom costume, and then the modified in between Power of the Atom costume. But this is a nice costume for who Adam Cray is. Again, the Suicide Squad covers. This is probably one of my favorites just because it features the Atom. So this issue takes up where last issue ends. Amanda Waller's been knocked out, and these Yakuza guys are about ready to put a bullet in her as the story starts. And I love this opening page where, like I said, we have Amanda Waller laying on the ground. We've got 5 Yakuza guys behind her, all pointing guns at her. One on the phone, and they're checking. We've got her here. We're gonna make sure she's dead. Then we'll dispose of her. Again, between Jeff Isherwood doing the pencils and Robert Campanella doing the inks, it's a beautiful page. Amanda Waller's laying there. In her hand, she has her little communicator. That's what it is. And we hear Oracle on the other side. Ms. Waller, are you all right? Were those shots? Amanda. And then we cut back to the headquarters where we have a beautiful picture of Amy Beddoes. We got Barbara sitting here, and she's looking over at Adam Cray, the Atom. She's like, Cray, what? I was just getting a sandwich. She's like, Amanda's been bushwhacked. I heard shots. Now I can't raise her. She opened the channel just before the shots. If you can travel via radio waves like Ray Palmer used to. And again, kind of giving us not necessarily a recap, but mentioning Ray, which again, I Ray's my favorite version of the Atom. And the Atom is one of my 2 favorite characters, as I've said before, and I will say again. So I love the mention of Ray. And just here on page 2, this fantastic shot, a close-up of Barbara and the concern and the worry she has on her face for Amanda, her employer, and I don't want to say a friend, but a companion, if you will. It's just a fantastic shot of showing the concern that Barbara has. I love this image. And then the next page 3 at the top, we have Adam shrinking down and leaping into the receiver or the mic. And again, as I've said before, I've talked about this especially over on my Head Speaks podcast when I talked about the Sword of the Atom comic. I love when Ray would shrink down. They would show him shrinking. I love it here when Adam is shrinking down and going into the mic. I just love that. And here, the next panel down here on page 3, we have Adam popping out, and he's like, holy hell. And we hear Amy or Oracle in the background going, Adam, what is it? What's happening? And Adam is face down with these Yakuza gunmen. Oracle's all, Adam, talk to me, yelling over the headset, let me know what's going on. And he's like, in his head, I'm sure he's going like, I'm a little busy, woman. Leave me alone. But again, here on bottom of page 3, another excellent panel. We have the Atom standing over one of the guys he's knocked out. Meanwhile, he's kind of crouched over a little bit. Meanwhile, the other two of the other guys have their guns pointed at him. Who is this? What does it matter? Kill him. And again, here at top of page 4, we have another image of the Atom shrinking down. Again, I love when they show that. And I don't know if that's a surprint. I know over on the Who's Who podcast, my friend, Irredeemable Shag does, they refer to like the background images on a lot of these screens these issues as surprint. I wonder if this is kind of a surprint thing, because it's like a lighter image of Ray shrinking down. I'm sorry, not Ray, the Atom shrinking down. I have to check with Shag and see if that's still surprint or if that's something different, if he knows. Or maybe I'll talk to my buddy over on the G.I. Joe podcast I do, Jared Albrecht, because he's an artist. He would probably know that term also. We'll get these gunmen trying to shoot at the Atom, missing him because he shrunk down, hitting their buddies. And I love it when the Atom does that. He shrinks down while he's being attacked, and the bad guys are either shooting or hitting their buddies instead of Ray, or in this case, Adam. It's fantastic. Again, I don't know what it is, but the Atom's always been one of my favorite characters. I just love that he can shrink down and grow taller. In fact, over in the Titans, there was a Teen Titans series in the 90s written by the wonderful Dan Jurgens. In that comic, they had a version of the Atom. And that one there, he could grow taller also. So I love that change to the Atom's power set. It was a younger Atom, and he could grow taller. Again, I don't want to give anything away with spoilers. Maybe I'll talk about that somewhere in the future, either here or over on Head Speaks. I am not sure yet. Another great comic I'd love to talk about. But we're talking about Suicide Squad. I love this. So the Atoms run around their feet, and they're like, where is he? Where's the body? Who is this guy? We only killed Janji? Where's the Gaijin? Did he turn invisible? And I love whenever people first meet the Atom, and they're confused by where he disappeared to. Did he teleport? Did he turn invisible. Oh, what's going on? Where's he at? And he's, I'm right here. I'm just small. And again, here, Adam does what Ray always does, and he leaps up and puts some power into his fist. And he's like a 6-inch man punching with the might of a 180-pound man as he punches these guys out, knocking them down. And so all they see is their comrades falling down without knowing why. And so again, they're like, where is this guy? Who cares? Let's finish the woman and get out of here. And Adam appears behind the leader, in quotes, of the group and grabs and hits him in a chokehold, which causes him to shoot another one of his friends. And one of the other guys, they start shooting at Adam, but again, the chief or the leader here, whatever he is, he's in the way. So, of course, he gets the bullets while Adam shrinks out of sight. I love that. No, you fools. Ah! As he gets just a couple of shots just to his chest. Fantastic. And again, we see the Adam behind him shrinking down. Again, that surprint, whatever, I keep calling it surprint, it shrinks down as Adam runs away by his feet. And they're like, flee. What the guy's in? She's done for. Flee. And as they're running away, Adam calls for help. He's like, he's under his head's communicator. Oracle, give me some medics, fast. Waller's down, it looks bad. I don't know what the hell to do next. And then all of a sudden, he passes out also. He's like, fact is, suddenly I don't feel so good myself. In fact, I feel like, Cray, are you all right, Cray? As he passes out next to Amanda. And then we cut over to, the Shinjuku, Tokyo's club district. And it tells us at the same time. And we have Boomer and Cliff Carmichael pounding back some beers. And as they're drinking or getting ready to drink whatever, Captain Boomerang's like, here now, you old enough to drink that, Sprouts? And Carmichael is all, nuke yourself. I hate this stupid country. I hate their beer. I hate their women. I hate this job and everyone on it. And Boomerang's all, drop off. You know what your whole problem is, sport? You got an attitude problem. And again, I know we've talked about this before, but yeah, Cliff Carmichael is an old villain of our enemy and villain, Firestorm, a.k.a. Ronnie Raymond. So again, he is young, because again, when we first met him over in Firestorm, he was a teenager. He was in high school. So, and again, I know it's been a decade, just over a decade since Firestorm first appeared, but it hasn't been that much time in comic-wise. So, yeah, he's got to be only 18, 19. He may be 20 or 21 at this point. I forget how old Ronnie was at this point. I know he graduated high school and had started college, but it could have been too many more years later. So Cliff is only got to only be 20, 21 at the oldest, I would imagine, at this point. But it's kind of hard to tell with comic book time how old someone actually is. So, and as he said there, burp. Yeah, right. Says one of the prime dorks of the Western world, Captain Boomerang. Whoa, there's a name to strike terror with. And Boomerang's like, oh, turn it up, mate. What's your moniker? The Thinker? Like the rest of your generation can't come up with nothing new. Gotta recycle everything. And so again, these two are kind of going back and forth, and Cliff's threatening him, hope you get within my persuasion field. When it's turned on, I'll have you up on the tables, dancing naked, doing real strange things with your body parts. And I love Digger's response that he's like, I've done that before on my own. Mucking me once, Peanut, and I'll up and job you. Dead cert, you're a dead man. And that's the pig, and that's not the pig's arse. But basically saying, you mess with me, I'll kill you. But again, I just love the fact that they're going over each other's names, Captain Boomerang and the Thinker. And again, I mean, and I like Captain Boomerang, Digger saying, commenting how, he's reusing another person's name and how, the younger generation can come up with their own stuff. Again, it's kind of a same old throughout the generations. The older generation complaining about the newer generation. I just find it funny. And as they get up, Carmichael gets up. And, so anyways, back to the story. Digger's all, like I say, he said, buck with me once, Peanut, and I'll up and job you. Dead cert, you're a dead man, and that's not the pig's arse. And Cliff's like, I guess I'd be more scared if I knew what the hell you just said. And as they're talking, someone approaches Digger and he's like, your name is being Tidewater? True right, Billy Tidewater, from the land down under, and your blokes are... And one of the guys, there's a group of guys standing in front of Digger, and he's like, you're not Billy Tidewater. We know Billy Tidewater. Oh, you know my cousin Billy. Bit of family laugh, that. You see, my father and his father were brothers, and since me and old Billy were born about the same time, they thought it'd be a chuckle to give us the same name, see? Funny, eh? And he's kind of upset that because Carmichael's kind of, buggered off and left him by himself. He's on his own as far as he's concerned. He doesn't see Carmichael anywhere. And apparently this guy, this is one of the guys that Tidewater, whatever his name, Tidewater, left to the Khmer rogue an issue or two ago, last episode. He's like, he stole from us. We'll find him. You will tell us where to find him. Or you're also a dead man. You understand? And again, Boomerang's doing what Boomerang does. He's trying to smooth talk and be like, too right. The bugger's stolen from me as well. Kith and kin I may as well be. Tell you what, we'll join forces, you and I, mates, eh? To show my good faith, I'll let you on something for free. And he kind of turns over towards Carmichael. See that over there? Both the sneer and the lack of fashion sense? He's supposed to be the go-between for me and my cousin, the other Billy. Bring him in, give him his arm a twist, he'll sing a song. That's fair dinkum, mate. The fair dinkum. Fetch the boy, we'll question them both at our lodgings. And so Carmichael's whispering to the mic. He's like, hello, Amy, got a contact. Two uglies headed towards me. How about releasing my head so I can stick a little mental influence on them? What say, Amy? Hello, Carmichael to base. Where are you, stupid cow? Because again, Amy's a.k.a. Oracle, a.k.a. Barbara. She's a little busy right now with Ray and, I'm not Ray. Keep calling him Ray. Adam and Amanda and their whole situation because it's going on at the same time. So she's not too concerned right now with what's going on over here. And so again, they take Boomerang and Carmichael out of the club. Boomerang, as he walking out, he's like, well, that didn't go as planned. Bloody hell. So yeah, again, as most things go with the Suicide Squad, things did not go as planned and things are kind of fouled up. No fault of these two guys, at least. At this point, it's not Amanda's fault. It's not Oracle's fault. It's just situation. Amanda got herself in a bad situation and Barbara got busy. So meantime, while all of this is going on, over at the Russian embassy in Tokyo, we see Nightshade appearing. Again, she comes out of the shadows. Again, great character, great powers. And she sees Zastro. Again, as I've talked about previously, Zastro was big over the Firestorm book at this time, also written by John Ostrander. As I've talked about previously, John kind of tied all his books together one way or the other. He'd have characters popping in one book or the other, or either that or villains or heroes or whatever showing up in one book and the other. So I love the little Ostranderverse we had going on at this time. Again, as I've talked about, he wrote Firestorm, he wrote this, he was writing The Spectre. I forget what else he was writing at this time. I want to say there was another book or two he was writing at this time, and they all kind of tied in together. So it's fantastic. So anyways, Nightshade, she sees Zastro, and so she's wondering, well, the Red Shadows are here in Tokyo, but which ones? And so she uses her night powers or shadow powers to go into his room as she tries looking for she sees a file that has the listing of the Red Shadows new group. There's a vampire chick with a Medici gene named Shrek, someone codenamed Yorosha, another codename Lamia. So that's Greek, if I remember, and Mrs. Granako. And as she's looking, all of a sudden the lights come on, which renders her shadow powers moot at this point. And we see Zastro with, I know I'm butchering her name, but Mrs. Gradiniko. And again, so Zastro's like, I asked myself, who would Amanda Wallace send to determine if we also were investigating these stolen Soviet guns? You were the obvious choice. So we bait our trap and you wander in. They like to arrange them so there are no shadows in the room. Nothing for you to play with. And she's all, you got me. But since we're both presumably working for the same goal, neutralizing these stolen weapons, why don't we work together? Again, trying to play, not dignitary per se, but trying to, talk her way out of it. As Astro's like, yeah, this is Soviet business. It's also personal business. We will deal with it. And she's like, sorry, comrade, we already cashed the check. And she takes off. She's got a metal, I think it's a headband, I believe. Or no, that's what it is. She takes something off the desk. It looks like it's a pen set and throws it at the lights, breaking the lights, giving her some shadows to work with. And she's like, now, get out of the way or we'll go through you. And so he turns to the older woman with him, Mrs. Granako, whatever. He's like, assume the form if you please. And she turns to the giant bear once again and attacks Nightshade. And again, I love Nightshade. Not only can she travel through the lights or through the shadows, but she can also make the shadows into, like, she's got it formed into a snake. Or a snake's attacking this giant bear. And as she's trying to flee out the door, all of a sudden she runs into Rick Flag, who we all know is dead. At least for now. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Which delays her and, kind of surprises her which allows the bear to knock her out. And then we see that again, this is Eurosha, the gal that can shapeshift or cause illusions. And Zastro tells his companions that the plan is to transform Nightshade into a double agent, so that's what they're going to do. And so the vampire one she was referring to, he shows up, and they're like, you remember, as we discussed, a taste only, just enough to bring her into your control. And the vampire fellow's all, I know what we discussed, but the hunger, it burns. And Zastro's like, you'll be fed later. For now, this will do to abate your needs, as we discussed. Yes, as we discussed. As you wish. And again, he pops out his fangs and starts sucking on Nightshade. Lucky vampire, I'd like to say. Anyway, never mind. Again, Nightshade's a beautiful woman, but that's neither here nor there. That's a tale for a different story. A tale for a different time. That's what phrase I'm looking for. Anyways, we cut back to the jungles of Cambodia, where we have Vertigo and Deadshot and Gort. That was, I almost forgot his name. The Russian guy. And as Vertigo's laying, he's like, fine pair of fools. You might have both been killed, needlessly killed. And Deadshot's all, nah. Actually, I guess he's not Deadshot anymore. He kind of killed Deadshot. At this point, just Floyd. He's like, nah, Gort would have survived the jump with or without the shoot, of course. I would have killed him if he didn't take the shoot. Floyd's like, where's the gear? And Vertigo's all, do I look like your lackey? I tossed it out of the plane. I presume gravity is still working and landed in the jungle nearby. And as they're packing up to go, Floyd's got the gun pointed at Gort that they're using. And he confides in Nemesis. And Vertigo's like, by the way, the laser pistol broke in the jump. Don't tell Gort. So again, he's kind of bluffing and making Gort think that he still has a working laser weapon that'll drill a hole in his head. And as they get ready to leave, the Camarogues show up, of course, because what's a party without the Camarogues showing up? And as these Camarogue guys are like, yeah, put your hands in the air, Gort's like, welcome, comrades, please to fire away. And Floyd's like, I go, you go, guaranteed, Gort. Again, because as we know, but Gort doesn't, the gun's broke, but Gort doesn't know that. So Floyd's trying to bull crap his way out of it. But luckily, Vertigo's there to use his powers and knocks everybody else down to the ground. And again, Floyd's like, nice, of course. Now what do we do with them? And Vertigo's all, we could withdraw, but able to cover and follow. And taking those prisoners is sheer folly, not to mention hazardous to your health, to our health. And Floyd's like, yeah, well, I guess we better just kill him then. And he's like, no, that's a dishonorable way to kill your enemy. I'll be no party to the slaughter of helpless foe. And Floyd's like, no one ever accused the Camarogue of being helpless or honorable, pal. They chopped up babies for fun. And so again, Floyd sicks Gort on the rest of the Camarogue. And Gort's all, forgive me, little comrades, it is necessary that you die. Again, here on page, is it numbered? Yes, page 17. Fantastic battle scene of Gort taking out some of the guys, Floyd shooting some, and Vertigo using his powers on some. And again, I like how they have this laid out in 9 panels. The top 2 sets correspond. The top one below it is Gort grabbing one of the guys and snapping his neck. Next one shows Floyd shooting one of the guys. And the third panel shows Vertigo using his powers and one of the guys falling off a log, it looks like. A little dark, hard to make out there. And then the last set, we see the Camarogue generals or whatever they are watching all this from a distance. And one of the guys is like, tell the mortar squad to begin firing on the clearing. His subordinate's like, but comrade, commander, our own people are dead or as good as dead. Commence fire. So again, these guys don't have any, I don't want to say patience, but these guys don't have any care for the rest of their team. So makes you not want to be a part of the Camarogue, doesn't it? But anyways, they lob some missiles at them, or some mortars, I guess not missiles, mortars. And again, here, top of page 18, just a nice shot of the mortar going off and bodies being flown every which way as our team runs off into the jungle. Vertigo's like, into the jungle, we must find a cover, locate our gear. And as Gort comes up on Floyd pulls the gun out. And so Gort's like, for your sake, never let me find you without that gun. And again, we see they're still dropping mortars on the team as the team escapes into the jungle. Again, just beautiful art here. I love the way that the fire, the explosions, with Vertigo using his powers. Just all the art on this is fantastic. Like I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I normally love the 4-color superhero stuff, but on the Suicide Squad, I think these darker colors really work because this is a more darker, grittier, more, I don't want to say realistic, but a more people die in this book on a regular basis. They're called the Suicide Squad, for God's sake. So I love the darker colors, and it works beautifully in this. Meanwhile, we go back to Tokyo, where we have Bronze Tiger, Vixen, and Mark Shaw all breaking into this place, into the Shinjuku. And again, Mark Shaw, Manhunter, that was a book that Ossinger wrote, which we covered over on the Starman Manhunter Venture Hour here on the Headcast Network. And so as they're breaking in, Ben, aka Bronze Tiger's kind of getting some information on Mark about who they're going up against. The Cat's Eye is a meta-powered martial artist. And Mark's like, yeah, maybe bioengineered to boot. Reflexes faster than normal, claws in his fingers and toes. Mook went from a standing start to 20-foot leap straight up in the air. And his eyes are real weird. And Ben's all just, I look forward to meeting him. Because Ben is all out of beep to give. And I like this. They get in. Ben's like, getting in was awfully easy, do you think? Mark's like, this is a trap? Oh, you're not wrong. But the only way to find out what the Dachiruku knows is to walk into hope we can work our way back out. And Ben's all, some plan. Even Manda gives me better than that. And as he says that, he gets attacked by Cat's Eye. And Cat's Eye scratches at Mark with his claws. And basically here on this page, we have these three guys fighting. Cat's Eye fighting against Ben and Mark. And Mark realizes he's been poisoned by Cat's Eye as he starts to pass out. And Cat's Eye, he kicks at Ben, knocks him down. And apparently we find out that his talons were envenomed. So he's able to poison both our heroes. And he's like, you were defeated the moment I first cut you. The rest was for my own pleasure. Now, carry on. We will see how my Ogobon wishes to dispose of you. And as he drags Mark and Ben off, coming up behind him, we see Katana. Yeah, Katana, I think her name. Yeah, Katana. And again, this is her red and yellow, more traditional looking costume. I like this better than what she ends up with later, that we kind of saw in the Suicide Squad, the first Suicide Squad movie. I've never been a huge fan of Katana. She's not bad, but I don't know, just somehow Katana's never struck me. When I read the Outsider books and then here, she's never really struck me as I don't want to say a good character, but it's not one of my favorites. And then we get the next issue blurb. Next, Dragon's Teeth. And that's where this issue ends. And so this story ends here, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the very next issue. Which is issue 56. And this one's called Dragon's Teeth. I already did the credits on this one, so we'll go jump to the cover. The cover of this one has Katana, Mark Shaw, and Ben, aka Bronze Tiger, fighting against Cat's Eye and a couple of other goons. In the background, we see the Japanese flag. Yeah, they're in Japan. The Japanese flag. We got some the Japanese light, whatever those are. The looks like a paper shade around a light or whatever. I don't know what they're called. We get our title, Suicide Squad, The Dragons Horde 4. Nice cover. I like this. It's not one I think of when I think of Suicide Squad, but looking at it, yeah, it's a good cover. We get, I say, Ben fighting Cat's Eye, kind of a rematch here on the cover. Meanwhile, Mark and Katana, both the respective weapons, are taking out some other guys. It's a good cover. I like this one. If I give it a rating, it'd probably be about a B, I would guess. B+. It's good. It's action-packed. Again, I love action-packed covers. And if I'm not mistaken, this is somewhat from the inside. So, very nice. Again, this issue starts out with an action-packed scene again. We get a splash page where we have Floyd jumping over a log, holding a rifle, while Vertigo's flying behind him. We get a little caption, Cambodia. We got our logo here at the top, the Dragons Horde Part 5, Dragon's Teeth. And I had to go back and look, because, yeah, this is a misprint. It should only be Part 4. I'm like, well, if Part 5, we still got more issues to go. This is only a 5-part story. Wait a minute. So I go look at the cover. Yeah, the cover says it's Part 4. So it looks like it was a typo or a not a typo, but a miswriting, I guess. Mistake. I'm assuming the penciler, the letterer put that in there. So even though, who is the penciler on this one? Jeff, let me see, writers, penciler. Well, no, it wouldn't be the penciler, the letterer. John Costanza, the letterer. I believe it's a letter thing there. So even though normally John does a fantastic job, and again, John Costanza, the letter, doesn't get a lot of praise. You don't, unless they do something really fantastic, you don't really notice the letterer, which is a good thing, yet it's a bad thing. It's a good thing as far as, I mean, yeah, you don't notice the letterer, so that means they're doing a good job, but they don't get the praise they deserve unless they do something really fantastic that stands out, or like here they mess up somewhere. They don't get any recognition. So again, John, I will forgive this little slight error here just because you're doing a fantastic job, and let me give you a clap. Because again, you're doing a fantastic job. Again, like I say, unless there's something that stands out or it's a screw up, we don't really notice the letter, and that means they're doing a hell of a job. Because if we were to notice it, that means it's kind of pulling us out of the story. When the letter does a good job on what they're doing, it kind of flows into the story, and you don't really notice, per se, the words you're reading. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does my head, so that's the important thing. But again, behind Vertigo and Floyd, we have a giant explosion. And Floyd's like, this is getting really old. And as Vertigo's landing next to Floyd, he's like, where is Stolvolk? A.K.A. Gort. He's like, we got separated in the last Camarouge barrage. I better go find him. He strays a lot. And he's like, meanwhile, you better find where you tossed our gear. We're going to use transceivers to get in touch with Waller. And again, Vertigo he's Count Vertigo. He's royalty from his home country. I think he's in Laverdia or wherever he's from. So yeah, he's very much high-minded, very royal. He's like, we were not aware that you were Amanda Waller's anointed heir, Lawton. Do not presume to instruct us. And Floyd gets up close. He's like, Count, tell me, you make up your mind yet? Vertigo's like, what? About what? What are you babbling about? Made up my mind about what? About whether or not you want me to kill you. You don't want to live in a maniac depressive state, remember? Yes, I haven't made up my mind, and this is hardly the time to discuss it, isn't it? Just checking. You see, I've almost made up my mind about whether or not I should shoot you. It may depend on whether or not we find our gear. And again, here at bottom page 2, it's a fantastic close-up of Floyd's face and just the dead look in his eyes. I may haven't decided yet. Depends on if we find our gear or not. Yeah, I may end up shooting you before you're ready. Fantastic shot. And as they're talking, there's another explosion nearby. And as Vertigo flies off, he's like, I begin to tire of these companions. Meanwhile, we get Gort confronting the Cameron Rouge. They're like, there is one of them. Oh, my little comrades, well met. I am free of the other's annoying presence. Stravanaki is free to join you. Look, he attacks. Remember how he attacked the others? Shoot, shoot, shoot. And as they start firing up on the Steel Wolf, I guess I don't know his other name, the Steel Wolf, Steel, Man of Steel, bullets are bouncing off of him. He's like, is this how you would greet a comrade? As he reaches out, grabs the guys and just kills him, snaps his neck, crushing one of their heads, it looks like. He's like, accept my apologies in killing you, little comrades. I admire the Cameron Rouge. My old master, Stalin, would have applauded your tenacious cling to the tenets of communism. I wish the men of Moscow were as true to their faith. He's congratulating him, and he's praising them as he's killing them. Fantastic. I love Gort. He's fantastic. He's like, unfortunately, these days there are few like yourselves in Moscow. I am one, which is why I must get back to Moscow. Offhand, we hear crack. We cut back and we see Floyd with his gun pointed at Gort. And Gort's all going on. So he's like, I understand, yes. I must go back and teach them how to be good communists, as you and your comrades. You, unfortunately, have chosen to be in my way, eh? And about this time, I say this is when Floyd shows up. Nice job, Gort. The small arm fighters told me where to find you. They'll probably tell the guys in the mortars as well. Let's move on. We got a weapon dump. We got a weapons dump to find and destroy. So again, the two of them take off as again the area is being bombed by the mortars. Meanwhile, Vertigo has found their gear and he's on the radio contacting Oracle. And she's like, I'm here. Thank God. It's good to hear from you. Where the hell have you guys been? And Vertigo's like, we were dropped to a hornet's nest, a whole Camarose brigade, it would seem. I'm not even sure we can continue, though we seem safe enough for the present. Lawton broke his laser pistol, although Gort's not aware of this yet. Does Waller have the location of the stolen Russian weapons? The Dragons Horde? Dun, dun, dun. And again, I like how Oracle's kind of, where the hell have you guys been? When, she's been preoccupied herself dealing with Amanda's whole situation, which she kind of recaps here. She's like, no, we may not even have a Waller. She walked into a trap and was gunned down by the Yakuza. So we find out that she's in a hospital in Tokyo, having emergency surgery. She says she's lost contact with the entire team. Boomerang and Carmichael, radio, and just the whole stuff of Waller went down. She couldn't talk to them, and now she can't raise them. No one else answers her signals. The whole mission has gone right into the toilet, which is kind of what the Suicide Squad missions do. They tend to go belly up real quick. and Vertigo's all charming metaphor. If Waller's incapacitated, then who is in charge? And again, I like Barber's look on this top of where am I at? I have glasses back on. Page 6, when he's like, so who's in charge? And she's like, oh, Jesus. Just the way the shadows are hitting her face and her hands. She pulls off her glasses. She got her hand over her face like, oh, God. I am. Nobody else can coordinate it. You, Lawton, and Gort, push on if you can. Your first rendezvous isn't scheduled for hours. She's like, are you in any immediate danger? He's like, we'll have to pull our enough. We have power enough to deal with any threat being posed. As he's saying this, the tree then gets bombed and he gets flying out of the tree. As we cut away, again, fantastic cutscene of Vertigo being blasted out of the tree, cutting over to Tokyo, where we've got Boomer and Carmichael. And we find out they said they found the small radio. And like this, we find this among your things. It is a small radio. You will explain. Oh, I've already bloody told you, haven't I? The kid and I work for the Suicide Squad. We were hired to find and destroy a shipment of stolen Soviet guns, a.k.a. the Dragons Horde. Bloody hell, go pick up Waller. I'm giving you a fair dinkum, mates. Fair dinkum, yes, but there was no Mrs. Waller at the hotel where you said. No one tells the whole truth after the first treatment, but you will tell us all eventually. That's fair dinkum. And he's like, oi. And about this time, one of his buddies rush in. Captain Zuko, I've located Tidewater. He is with a whore at a hotel not far from here. Which we saw a couple of issues ago, last episode. That's right. So again, he has one of his guys here staying guard these two guys while they go get Tidewater. And he's like, we'll kill them all together. And as the guys are leaving, Carmichael's like, you don't even know how to squeal right, you fruit bat. You always hold back a little. I know pigs that don't squeal as bad as you. and Boomer's all, intimately? Again, these two are always big. It's like these two would be a great TV show on Fox. Boomerang and Carmichael, or Boomerang and the Thinker. Coming this fall on Fox. These two rooming up, just bickering all day long. Fantastic. I love what Kim and John does on the writing on this. Again, I don't know how that breaks down as far as who did what as far as the writing, but I love the way they did it. Fantastic. Kudos to both John Ostrander and Kim Yell. Fantastic job, guys. And again, as these two are bickering like a married old couple, we cut it back over to the Shinjuku, that tells us the head Q at the headquarters of the Dachiduku. And the Dakijuku tells one of his people to give them the, I guess he's the Oyabun? Anyway, the Oyabun tells one of his guys to give him the anti-venom. And I like this. He's like, "Greetings, Mark Shaw. It is regrettable that our final meeting is to be so inauspicious. Just as it's unfortunate that you rejoined the service of Mandawala." And he's like, "It's unfortunate that you sent your goons after me, Ryu. I had no intention of helping Waller or raising my hand against you until some of your boys Kim shot up some of my fellow employees. I accept the rebuke. Perhaps it's even justified. At this point, it is also real relevant. As we talked about, it was the first issue of the storyline. Mark was more than willing to tell Waller to go to hell, but then when the Obi-Wan sent his men in and roughed up, and shot up Mark's place, Mark's like, "You know what? I guess I am going to join Waller." And the guys that went to kill Waller, they show up and they let him know that he's like, "Where's Waller at?" "She's dead. A strange guy just showed up and would appear in disappear at will. We've fled to bring word to you." And again, these two guys escaped. He's like, "One would have been sufficient to do that need. What of the woman? Did you make certain she was dead?" And one of the guys like, "We had no chance. Cat's Eye, take some of the Kobong, find the black agent Waller, and be certain she is dead. If she is not, kill these fools. Take them with you." And the Cat's Eye is like, "I obey." And one of the guys reports over the other one. He's like, the prostitute with Billy Tidewater has made phone calls to the Russian embassy. I think she may be a Soviet agent. And he's like, "Send men immediately to Tidewater's hotel. Kill the woman. Tidewater's the only man who knows the exact location of the Dragons Horde. Without those guns, we will never take our proper place with the other clans." So again, he's got people going all over the place, killing all these other people. So fantastic. That's what he does. He sends all these people out to do all these murders and killings, and while he sits back and relaxes, I guess. And again, he turns to Mark and he's like, we can no longer afford to take risks, Mark-san. You have heard and you know Japanese well enough to know what is happening." And then he reverts back to Japanese, like, "Kill them both without pain, but do not free them." And about that moment, that's when Katana shows up. Kaya starts slicing and dicing and cutting these people up, knocks over Ben and Mark and cuts off their ropes, leaving just like one or two guys standing, and then the leader leaving as Mark and Ben get up and take out the other two guys. And as Katana goes to identify herself, she's like, I am Katana. I recognize you." This is Ben talking. He's like, "I recognize you from the squad files on the Outsiders. I had thought you in California. The man who hired you, Nobu Fujiwami, was my cousin. He was murdered, and I swore to avenge his death. I came to extract it and found you and Mark Shaw. I have saved your life. You owe me a debt of Giri Nuju, which is," Mark's like, "a debt of honor even unto death. I know what it is. It's got me in trouble before." I love Mark Shaw. Again, I covered his book over on his own show. Sorry, I was going to say Ed Speaks, but on his own show. So again, I love Mark Shaw. I think he's a great character. And again, I love that he was only a 24-issue run. I love that storyline or that arc, whatever, that series. And I wish it had gone longer, but I think it ran its course. And I like that Mark is showing up other places. And Ben chimes in. He's like, "I'm also aware of the obligations of Giri Ninjo, but I have older obligations to Amanda Waller. If she still lives, I must find her and protect her from the assassins the Dachiduku have sent." And again, she's like, "I acknowledge these earlier commitments, but I must find and deal with the Dachiduku's Oyabun." And Mark's like, "Why don't I take on the obligation with you, Katana? I know you and how he thinks." He's like, "Ben, you check in back at the hotel, get with Oracle, see what's going on." So again, they're kind of splitting up their resources, and again, they both owe Katana this life debt, basically. But Ben's got this older debt to Amanda that he has to fulfill. And again, I love the honor between the three of these and how they're able to resolve this amongst themselves, and they're all able to come to an accord. Fantastic writing. I love what John and Kim did on this book. Fantastic. Meanwhile, again, at the same time at the Russian embassy, we've got Nightcrawler. Wrong comic, wrong universe, wrong character. Nightshade is standing there under the control of the vampire guy. And Zastro tells us that his original intention was to turn to a double agent, but another possibility presents itself. And about this time, the Russian hooker that's with Tidewater gives him a call, and she lets him know that the Zuko and his men are prisoners of the Khmer Rouge. Tidewater betrayed them, and he knows where the Dragon Horde's at. And she tells him it's a small ruined temple, and she's going to give him the coordinates. And again, a beautiful woman laying here in bed. All she's got on is I'm assuming, Tidewater shirt and a pair of panties as she's laying there. Absolutely beautiful. Again, if my buddy Kevin from my G.I. Joe show was here, he would say, hot. So he finds out where the location's at. He tells her to kill Tidewater because, again, he doesn't want the information falling in Ellis's hands. And then she's supposed to return to the embassy. And he reveals the location to his companions. And the one, I forget the name now, the illusionist, actually knows where that's at. Their mother and an archaeologist evacuation took the person there. They said they hated it. Again, I'm not sure if it's a guy or a girl. I forget now. I can't tell from this drawing. And so he's going to send Shriek, which is the vampire, Shrek, and which is the vampire, and Eurosha, which is the shapeshifter or illusionist, whatever it is, and Mrs. Gardonica, whatever it is, the bear, the old woman bear. They're going to send the three of them to go destroy the weapons. And again, so he's questioning, because he knows Nightshade's power, so he's like, you will answer all of the vampire's like, you will answer all of Hatter Zastro's questions honestly. Do you understand? And he's like, I recall you have eidetic memory. You see things once, you keep it forever. Memorize this room, please. I wish for you to transport the red shadows using one of your dimensional tunnels. You can do this, yes? He's like, if I must, but I cannot do it blind. I must have a mental picture of what the place looks like. He's like, that can be arranged. And I like that he's like, Yosha, what? Why are you yelling at me? I haven't done anything. You are about to. You will now project an image of the temple of the Cambodian jungle onto the optic nerve of the American. I don't know if I can do that. It was a long time ago, and I don't remember it very well. Nonsense. I know your file. You too have eidetic memory. Use it. If I can do it, can I stay here? I don't want to go back. I hate the jungle. If you don't begin, I will feed you to Shrek. Check? I am losing my patience. Why did I ever leave the black market? I think it's a guy. He casts, again, so I guess he doesn't cast illusions. He causes people to see things. He casts images on their frontal, their mental lobe or whatever it is. What does he say? The optic nerves to make them see things. So it's kind of like illusions, but not. And so here on bottom page 14? Yeah, 14, Nightshade opens up a portal, and the four of them go through. And again, Zastro tells me, find any other metahumans at the temple, except the ones that came with you, feel free to sup to your heart's content. And I love here on page 15, just this smile, this smirk on Shrek's face. Shrek? And I think I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I'm calling him Shrek, so on Shrek's face, he's like, feasting on metahuman blood. I love that. And meanwhile, back at the hotel, Tidewater's laying there half asleep, and as the prostitute, I don't remember what her name, is crawling on top of him to strangle him. He's like, strength, woman, I'm all shagged out. He's like, but I saved the best for last. Again, a beautiful image of her hunched over, not hunched over, but on her knees, hands and knees, crawling on top of Tidewater to kill him off. And he thinks, he's going to get another shagging out of the whole deal. But like I said, she's like, I saved the best for last. When pleasure and pain become as one. And she starts showing again here on bottom page 15, a fantastic shot of her just using her Garrett, whatever it is, and choking him to death. Just about this time, the other guys come busting in. Again, I'm losing track of which people are which and who's who. But one of the guys come busting in. And I believe these are the guys that Tidewater sold out to the Common Road, if I'm not mistaken. And they realize that he's been garroted. Tidewater's dead. And so he knocks the woman down. She's like, he paid for the thrill. Kinky, It got out of hand. It happens. I am not so certain, my little bird. Are you a swallow that sings prettily for the KGB? Oh, yes, I know about their agent whores. Maybe you're one of these damn red shadows, eh? And so they plan on taking her with them. It's like, I am not a try that again. I am not a swallow. I'm a firebird. Passion incarnate. Your hand, so strong, so... He's just like, oh, shut up. As he gives her like a chop to the back of the neck, knocking her out. He's like, I'm not even playing with you, woman. Just shut up and lay down. About this time, the accuser shows up, come busting in the room. Here on page 17, again, nice shot of the Yakuza just busting in the door. Top of page 18, we have an old shootout. All the Yakuza get blasted away. And the leader says, I now have 3 prisoners to interrogate, huh? Meanwhile, we cut back to the hospital where we have Adam Cray being interrogated by the police, I'm assuming. He's here on bottom of page 18, it looks like. Yeah, page 18. He's like, I told you what happened to my passport 10 times already. And the guy questioning him was like, perhaps on the 11th you will try to tell me the truth, Mr. Cray. Your situation is quite serious. You have no passport, nor does customs have any record of your entering Japan. My passport, as I said before, must have been stolen by the same guys who shot down that poor woman. That does not explain why you have no visa. There's also the matter of this shooting. Who was the woman? The men who shot her down were Yakuza. Do you know what the Yakuza, Mr. Cray? The Yakuza? I don't know. Some of them are dead now. How did they die? Dead? How? Are you and the woman who was shot? And as he's questioning him, the doctor comes like, sure, this can wait till later. Mr. Cray is hurt. Oh, then the doctor's like, yeah, sure, this can wait till later. Saying Cray's hurt. And we're not sure why he collapsed or the nature of his problem. You better get answers from people when they're recovered from shock. And Adam's like, how was the woman that was hurt? And we find out she's in emergency surgery right now. They're lucky that she was still alive when they brought her to the hospital. And so the police are like, we'll just ride for now. But I'm not satisfied. Higher officials have arranged this, and I intend to find out who and why. And he's like, consider yourself officially detained by the Tokyo Police Department, Mr. Gray. You are confined in this room pending my further investigation. And so, as soon as the cop and the doctor leaves the room to go check on Amanda, Cray jumps out of bed. He's like, I wonder if Japanese cops eats donuts and drink black coffee, hot and black. As he gets his radio communicator out to contact Oracle. And again, he tells her that, Ray Palmer once warned him about traveling via satellite transmissions. Said the first time was the last time he ever did it. Now, I know why. It plays very health of psychology. And so that's what it's telling us here why he passed out last issue is because, again, as Ray found out, traveling through satellite, it takes the hell of a whop out of you. And we talked about that over on Head Speaks back in, for which episode it was, but when we talked about the first or second issue of the Power of the Atom series. So I like the reference. And again, they don't give us a reference to which issue it happened in, but I do like, because again, when Ray told Adam about it, it was off panel somewhere. So we don't have an issue when that happened. And of course, they wouldn't reference what he's referring to, so they could have, though. In fact, I wish they would have gave you a reference to the Power of the Atom. I think it was 1 or 2. But nice. But anyways, about this time, Ben Turner, a.k.a. Bronze Tiger's calling in. And he's just straight to the point. Get to me straight. Which hospital is Amanda in? And is she alive? And she's like, Turner, what happened to you and Shaw? And how did you learn about Amanda? Like later, Oracle, okay? Dooku also knows Amanda may be alive and may have sent Cat's Eye and some goons to finish her off. I can't defend her if I don't know where she is. So Oracle lets her know that she's at the University of Tokyo Medical Center and confirms that Adam heard this also. And as he goes out to try to convince the guard that was left to watch him isn't there, he's like, uh-oh, I got a bad feeling about this. Oracle, there's no cop in the hall. There's nobody. So he's off to find Amanda. And I like this. She's like, find Amanda, hold things off. I'll call in more local help. Move it. And Adam's like, yeah, right. Yakuza and a guy who beat up the Bronze Tiger. And I'm supposed to hold them off until the cavalry arrives. How am I supposed to find anything? All the stupid signs are in Japanese. What is that? This looks like surgery. Looks like Waller in there. And the surgeons are busy working. So far, so good. And about this, he's like, oh, hell. As the Cat's Eye and 4 of the Yakuza come barging down the hall. And Oracle's like, Cray, what is it? Cray? Next, the explosive conclusion. Again, another great story, or another great issue in this story arc. I love it. I love what's going on. It's fantastic. And so that is the issue 56, which brings us to the final issue of the storyline, issue 57. This one, as I mentioned previously, is entitled Dragon's Blood. As I talked about the top of the show about an hour ago almost, these were all reprinted in the Dragons Horde trade paperback, which I actually have the trade paperback. I've almost got them all now. Actually, there's 8 of them, and I've got 6, and I've got the other 2 ordered. So one's from Amazon, and one is from In-Stock Trades. So both of them should be here the next week or so. I'm excited I'll finally have all the trade paperbacks for the Suicide Squad as I'm finishing up this show. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the final part of the story, issue 57. Again, this is the Dragons Horde Part 5. Again, we get the, is that Shrek? The vampire holding Nightshade on the cover. Again, there's a temple or building behind him with some holes in it. Some of Nightshade's shadow demons, or whatever you want to call them, shadow dragons or shadow beasts, are encircling him. Shrek has his mouth open, his teeth bared, getting ready to bite Nightshade once again. Another great cover. This one I remember a little better than the last one. Again, it's not one I think of, but it's a great cover. In fact, I would probably give this one probably an A- we'll go for. Yeah, we'll give this one an A-. A good cover, very enjoyable. But let's move on to the story itself. So here we are at the Dragons Horde Part 5, Dragon's Blood. Again, this one's not so much action-packed, but it's a nice splash page. We get the Atom facing off. We get the Atom, and then we're behind Cat's Eye, looking at Cat's Eye's legs. In between his legs where we see Adam facing him down. He's like, oh, great. Just great. We got Waller in emergency surgery, a metahuman martial artist named Cat's Eye, leading a bunch of Yakuza goons to finish off what they started. The only thing standing between them and her is me. And I don't know if I can do the Adam shtick. Somewhere, somehow, my old man's laughing at me. Hogan, his old man, is Senator Cray, who I believe was Deadshot, killed back in issue 24. I'm trying to remember. Back in the mid-20s. I want to say it was 24 when Senator Cray was killed off because he was trying to blackmail the Suicide Squad. And again, so Adam's trying to miniaturize himself, shrink down. But again, his body's still screaming from riding the transmission beam. And again, another reference to to Ray Palmer warning him about that. He's like, now what do I do? And one of the guys with Cat's Eye is like, him, that's the one, Cat's Eye. Here's the gaijin with the mysterious powers who attacked us in the garage. Oh, formidable. You are certain he didn't also bring his mother? And I love it. Again, you can't read disgust in a word balloon, but just the way it's drawn and just the way I can imagine, I can read him saying it that way. Oh, you certain he also didn't bring his mother? All right, gents, listen and listen tight. You see what I can do? I'm not a man to make idle threats. He said, making idle threats. If you don't go back down that hall pronto, there's going to be some trouble. Again, he's trying to bluff him. And if this was like a D&D game or something, he's rolling to bluff him. And he got a 1. Cat's Eye calls him on. He's like, that's the worst John Wayne impression I've ever heard. Tell me, the police are taken care of? And one of the guys, yes, Cat's Eye. Then waste no more time. Just shoot this fool. And again, here at the bottom of page 2, fantastic scene of these 4 guns pointed right at Adam, getting ready to shoot him. And he's like, and all of a sudden he shrinks down again. I love, as I've talked about previously this episode directly and elsewhere, I love when we see him shrinking down. Again, we see him shrinking down. And he's like, yes, thank heaven for adrenaline. Again, I love this scene, this panel with Adam shrinking down. It's a fantastic job. I love it. And he's like, I'll pay for this later, but at least I'll have it later. As he leaps out, he uses his powers to knock the guy out. And as Adam jumps at Cat's Eye, he's like, why, Tabby, what have you got under your nails? Have you been walking in poison again? Leaps over him. He's like, there, he does not disappear. He changes size. See? Great. This guy doesn't just look weird. He's got the eyesight reflex of a cat. I'm kitty litter. And I love that he's saying that as he's landing on this desk here next to this computer, as Cat's Eye crouches down. So unfortunately, the jig is up, and they know how his powers work and what he's doing. So Adam better hop to it. And then we cut elsewhere, where we have the Dragons Horde and Cliff Carmichael and Boomerang tied up in the hotel, and this guy's questioning her. She's like, I have told you. Yeah, told us, yes. Yours is simple, honest whore. That killing Tidewell was an accident. They told you nothing about my guns, any guns, or where to find them. You will probably go to your grave saying that. And Boomerang again, always opening his mouth. Oh, excuse me, Captain Zuko, isn't it? Mind a suggestion? It may help. It's like, what? It's like this, Captain. My mate here has a psionic ability. You get your girlfriend to come across with the goods. He's like, I doubt it. What's to lose? Give it a shot. If I'm lying, you kill us both. If not, you get us clear. Eventually. All right, mate? Is, as you say, worth a shot. He's like, one last thing. His power has to be released by our contact. I need one of those receivers for a second. Cut me loose? No, it's a trick. No trick. You listen to every word. No code words, I swear. Everything will be in plain English. Again, with the bickering, Carmichael's like, I didn't think you knew plain English. And so they cut him loose and give him the miniature radio. And if it's a trick, we'll be no worse shape than we were before. And he will be dead. So he finally gets in contact with Oracle, and she's like, where the hell have you been? She said, I might ask you the same question. Now, shut your gob and listen, you bloody cow. We're in the deep end. Open Carmichael's brainwaves for 5 minutes, then shut him down. Boomerang out. I see nothing simpler. You might want to place that next to the chroma and then step back. He generates a field about 5 feet across. You don't want your boys caught in it. So they move him next to the woman, to the Russian whore. And again, they talk to each other only. He's like, you really release if this works? Of course not. Do you think I'm that big of a fool? As he sits there in front of the Russian whore, again, I don't know if we ever caught her name. You smell. You remind me of my mother. I hate my mother. And he's like, look, let you and me be friends, okay? We're great friends, you and me. I'm the only man in the world you can trust. Who cares about you? I'm genuinely interested in you. Tell me about yourself, okay? And then we find some information about her. She says her name is Natalia Andrognia Spirin. I am a whore trained for espionage. A Lastok, or swallow in English. My code name is Lamia. My first mark, a Greek attaché that I compromised, called me this name. I can manipulate my pheromones, make people, men especially, do what I want. I belong to the Red Shadows. Zastra, my master, will help. My sister Natalia is in her medical studies, but only as long as I go live this life. So again, we get kind of her backstory here. It's kind of just an info dump, letting us know that, she works for Zastro and she's doing it to help her sister through medical school, basically. He's like, hey, he told you where the guns are, right? Didn't he? The guns he was trying to sell, where are they? It tells him basically there's a ruined temple 20 miles due south of wherever it's at. Basically gives him the instructions on how to get to where the weapons are at in Vietnam. And as he's talking, he turns to one of the guards. He's like, wasn't that nice? Aren't you glad I'm on your side? I bet that makes you want to set me free. And the guy's like, what are you talking to me, fool? What are you saying? Because again, the guy doesn't speak English. He doesn't understand a word that Carmichael's saying to him. And Boomerang's like, you bloody dillbrain. He doesn't well speak English, does he? It don't work on him. And the leader's like, what is this? You said his field only works within 5 feet. And he's like, oh, Carmichael's like, oh, hello, Captain. You speak English, don't you? I do believe your men are prepared to kill you and take the guns for themselves. Maybe you should kill them first. Betray me? Never, as he turns and kills his friends as Carmichael starts laughing. And as the swallow gets up and she starts, wait, let's get away. Starts running away as basically all these guys just kill each other. Just a classic shootout where they all end up killing each other. I guess one doesn't, but Boomerang's able to get one of his boomerangs. Or it looks like it's a throwing knife, kind of shaped like a boomerang, and throws it and stabs the last guy in the neck, killing him. And again, Carmichael's like, hey, Digger, remember what I said I'd do if I ever got you in my field? Guess what? It's time. And about that time, Oracle turns the field back on, stopping his powers and causing him to not black out, but kind of go into I guess kind of like a seizure. You're dead wrong, mate. Time's up. You only had 5 minutes, remember? I'm going to put another call, pass on the info, and I think it's time for a little schooling, just you and me. And so we got to, I love it. We got to Oracle talking, and he's like, good work, Harkness. I'll pass it on to the Cambodia team. What's Carmichael screaming about in the background? Well, all right, I'll let you handle it then. I know, what's he yelling? Oh, okay, I'll let you handle it. You got it, no problem. Fantastic. And then we go to Cambodia, where we have our 3 team members here, giving the coordinates. They realize they're less than 30 kilometers away. They seem to have lost the Khmer Rouge for the moment, but they're going to go ahead and proceed with the mission. And he tells them to alert Black Hawk Express for early pickup, if possible. And Lawton's like, you can fly, and Gort can leap the distance. One of you two gets to carry me. And Vertigo's like, I'm not a mule, Lawton. More to the point, I doubt if I can manage your weight. And I like that he puts the gun right at Gort's head. He's like, then I guess I'll have to travel air Gort. As they take off, Gort leaping, kind of like Superman used to in the early days, while Vertigo flies. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, in the temple, again, the temple we saw on the cover with the vampire going to suck out Nightshade. We see when Nightshade's portals appear. And as they come through, the illusionist, like, I don't care what the party says. There is a hell and I've seen it. I never want to travel that road again. Like, fine, you stay behind, we go. In the meantime, let us find the weapons. The vampire saying that, Shrek. About this time, Gort arrives. He comes landing down. And the vampire's like, Comrade Servalki, whatever. We are amazed to find you here. We are the new members of the Red Shadows, come to dispose of some Soviet weapons. Gort's like, as am I. You will oblige me by disposing of the flea on my back? Talk about Floyd, who's still riding his back. And Floyd's like, this flea speaks Russian. One false move, comrade. A beam of light go one ear, not the other. We're here to destroy the guns. Any problems with that? So, and he's saying that in Russian. So I like that Floyd reveals that he can speak Russian and that he knows what Gort just told his companions. So fantastic. And so, again, while Floyd is trying to get them all work together, the Russians, the Red Shadows, are like, no, we need to do this. Let me see. Shrek's like, why don't you stand aside and let us do our job? And Gort's like, no, my way back to Moscow lies completing this mission. If I must go through you, I will do it. You will stand aside, little comrades. And Shrek's like, we too have a combat captive, one who does my will. Nightshade, dispose of these obstacles in my way. And all of a sudden she's like, I'm sorry, darling, but there's someone else in control of this body right now, and I'm not inclined to do anything you say. Ha 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 ha. As we find out the Enchantress is retaking control of Nightshade's body. And again, that's when all hell breaks loose. I think that's probably the Khmer Rouge guys show up, start blasting at him. Here on page 12, a nice little start of a battle scene as the team starts taking off in different directions to escape the helicopter coming in shooting at them. Meanwhile, back in Tokyo, we're at the offices of the Fujiwara Corporation. And as the Oban is telling me he needs weapons, he needs money, he needs telecommunications, the guy he's talking to is like, of course, but have they not followed you here? Impossible. They could not know. About that time, Mark comes busting in. The impossible just became possible, Ryu. Of course, who else but the man known as the Manhunter could find me? My compliments, Mark-san. Tell me, are there still bonds between us? Helps you free your family. Helps you defeat Dumas, your enemy. And again, all this happened. Again, I wish they would have had some footnotes or whatever telling us, go see Mark Shaw Manhunter book or whatever it was. Again, I covered all this over on my Starman Manhunter. Try that again. My Starman Manhunter Adventure Hour podcast, where I covered Mark's book, as I've talked about previously. So again, I do like that they're referencing what happened back over there. And Mark's like, for your own pleasure, Ryu. And after Dumas' death, you declared that all obligations between the Dakijuku and I were ended. I act on behalf of a different Giri needs you now. And about this time, Katana comes walking in. You are the death of my cousin. You owe my family a death. As she attacks him, and again, she slices through the Oban, killing him. He just saw you here on top of page 14, he just falls over on the desk dead. And Mark's like, all square between us? Yes, you go to see Mrs. Waller. What remains to be done, in honor's name, I can do alone. So while Katana's dealing with what she needs to deal with, Mark's off to see Amanda Waller. We're back at the hospital, where Cat's Eye is swatting Adam like a bug, if you will. About this time, Ben comes busting in. He's like, away. And Adam's like, Turner, boy, am I glad to see you. And Ben's like, who the hell are you? Oh, yeah, I'm the new Adam. Waller had me as sort of a secret member of the team since Jerusalem. Look, we can talk this later. He's like, definitely. And so, again, there's a fight starting here. We go to Cambodia. We have a fight underway. Again, a very nice scene. Yeah, Vertigo's using his powers. The old lady transforms into the bear. We got a helicopter in the air that Vertigo's affecting. And again, here on page 15. Yeah, page 15. He's like, Gort's like, impressive old woman. Werebear versus still wolf. This wolf is stronger. And then we also have Shrek fighting Enchantress, a.k.a. Nightshade. He's like, whatever name, by whatever soul, I will have you, woman. And she's like, I've been had, darling, but by far better beings than you. I am mistress of the supernatural and not daunted by creatures such as yourself. And she uses her magic powers to kind of blast him. He's like, I am no mere vampire, for I have the metagene and powers unlike you have known before. You have never known a creature such as I. Meanwhile, we get Floyd facing off against the illusionist. He sees two of them. He's like, oh, how cute. You both real? You both the same? Guess I better shoot everybody just to be safe. As he blasts the guy, kills him dead. I better go find the guns. This is getting boring. And like as the real one falls down, we see the illusion disappearing. Fantastic. I love Floyd. She's like, you know what? Not sure who's who. Just going to shoot everybody. Put a bullet in everybody. Eventually the bullet got the right person. Fantastic. Back at the hospital. I love the way this is switching back and forth between the different areas. Again, if this was a TV show or a movie, I love the way it's cutting back and forth between the different fights, seeing all these different things going on. We're back at the hospital where Ben is fighting Cat's Eye. And again, Cat's Eye is like, I proved myself your master before. I shall do so again. And Ben's like, real masters don't brag. They do. And he just starts beating the crap out of Cat's Eye and makes Cat's Eye scratch his own face with his poisoned claws. As Cat's Eye falls to the ground, Ben's all, what's the matter, kitty cat? Don't like the taste of your own medicine? Fantastic shot of Ben standing over Cat's Eye, just looking down. We're down the floor with Cat's Eye looking up at Ben. Fantastic image. I love this. It's fantastic. Meanwhile, we cut back to Gort fighting the old woman as a bear. And as he knocks the bear to the ground, or knocks the bear away, he then jumps at Shrek. You should have stayed on my way. And Shrek's like, hiss. And meanwhile, Floyd's got a rocket launcher, and he's like, hey, everybody, look what I found. As he fires a rocket into the tomb or the stash of hidden weapons, the Dragons Horde, blowing it to smithereens. And again, I like here on page 19. Well, 18's got a nice shot of the building exploding. And then on 19, we have Gort fighting Shrek. In the background, the building burns. And Virgo shows up. He's like, this is appalling. A whole section of the country's heritage is being wantonly destroyed. Yeah, well, that's war for you. I love how nonchalant Floyd is. He's lighting up a cigarette. That's war for you. Just love that. Then Virgo's like, well, I disposed of the helicopters, but I saw whole troops of Khmer Rouge moving in this direction, including armor. And Floyd's like, guess we should make tracks. Let's see. What's the quickest way out of here? And then he turns and just slaps Enchantress across the face. We don't need you. We need your other personality. What's your name, lady? Say it. Say it. As he slaps her, he just... It's like Enchantress, which causes her to turn back into Eve, a.k.a. Nightshade. And Floyd's like helping her up. He's like, Nightshade, here's the story. We're all going to die unless you get us out of one of your tunnels back to the hotel. Can you do? Can try. Need to concentrate. Not let her take over as we go. And that's as Nightshade has Enchantress inside of her, as she's been since, when was that? A long time ago. Whenever Eve lets her concentration drop, Enchantress steps in and it takes over the body. So that's whenever she makes these tunnels, she has to concentrate on that and enough to keep Eve out. I'm sorry, not Eve, Enchantress out of her body. So Nightshade opens up the portal back home, and Floyd's like, okay, let's go. And Vertigo, again, he's a bad guy, but he's honorable. He's got that real heritage that he believes he's honorable. So he tries to do the honorable things. He's like, but wait, we can't just leave Gort. Why not? He's been our comrade. So Floyd turns over to Gort. He's like, yo, Gort, mission's over. You can go home now. Okay, we give him a shot. Let's beat it. So they all jump in the tunnel and get out of there. Meanwhile, we cut back over to Katana dealing with her whole life debt and all that. Not life debt, but the revenge on the people that killed her cousin. And the guy that was left, he's like kneeling in front of her saying, I betrayed my employer, causes death for my own personal gain. I've disarmed myself and my family. Will you permit me to atone? And she's like, yes. And you'll be my second? I will. And so again, the Japanese, the whole, to make honor, to redeem his honor, he had to kill himself. And so that kind of ends Katana's story right there. Well, not her story in general, but this particular portion of it. And back the next morning at the Tokyo hospital, we have the police still questioning Adam Cray. And the police is like, we have many questions still for you, Mr. Cray. And Ben's like, so have we. Because Ben, Nightshade, and Vertigo are standing there wanting to question him also. And it looks like Boomerang and Carmichael's on this side of him. And as they're talking, Adam's like, be glad to answer any and all once my insights untwist. About this time, a doctor walks up. Excuse me, are you waiting for the woman in surgery? I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do. The injury is so extensive. So you're on page 21 where the doctor comes out, basically saying Amanda's dying or dead. And as he's talking, an older doctor comes out. What are you doing? These are not your patients. Your patient's over there. Oh, sorry, I was misinformed. Like, were you the surgeon? Black woman, fat? Pretty fat, yes, I was surgeon. Well, is she going to make it? Oh, yes, much tough, this woman. And Boomerang's like, she in much pain right now? Yes, will be for some pain for many days. And Boomerang's like, good. And she's like, Harkness, chaw him off. Every time one of these missions goes out, it's always one of us who gets laid up or dead. This time was a fat lady's turn, and past time, I says. Maybe this will make the wall a bit more careful what war she picks to send us in. And Floyd's like, any bets? And we have the end. And next issue, it says War of the Gods. So again, this is the last issue in this story arc. Again, overall, I enjoyed this story. I thought it was a great job on... I thought it was a great job the way they handled this. The entire team did a fantastic job writing the Dragons Horde. I loved it. It was fantastic. Real quick, switching to the letters page. A couple letters I wanted to bring out. There's one from Chuck Dill from Fairfax, Virginia. He starts off the letter. No, the Royal Adam's not dead. I refuse to believe it. Don't start cutting off these old heroes. First Barry, now you keep trying to tell me Ray is dead? Never will I believe such a line of crud. There would have been a 12-issue miniseries with crossovers and deep implications if he were dead. Not one panel shot of a hotel room explosion. And then he goes on, anyway, Andy Adam is good at him. I like his new guy, whether he's original or not. I think you should do more with him. And I'll follow his Oracle's search into his past. And he goes on about other things. But again, I love that he's like, no, you can't be killing the Atom. You can't kill Ray. And the editor answers, he's like, anyways, Chuck, you'll be psyched to hear that we can concentrating on the mystery surrounding our diminutive Mr. Cray starting in Suicide Squad 59. And for that special storyline, we'll bring in some very big ringers. When Ray Palmer was declared dead in 44, if you recall, he had a few DC Universe notables in attendance at his funeral. Now there's 3 of them, old teammates of his in fact, have heard about this new guy with the strange shrinking powers and, better watch my enthusiasm. If I spilled the beans on this one, John and Ken would string me up. Suicide Squad 59 is where that particular tale begins, so you'll have to wait 2 months for details. And then the next letter from a Dr. Dis. He goes on saying that he can't honestly say he likes the direction the squad's going in. In the first issue, or several issues, we were introduced to a team of murderers, liars, and thieves. One of them got killed every 3rd issue or so. Now, no one is dying, and the team kind of reminds me of Mission Impossible or the A-Team. Some of my friends feel the same way I do. Do us all a favor. Dump all this espionage crap and go back to the meaningless, senseless violence that made this comic what it is today. I actually like the direction it's gone in. I also kind of miss some of the old stories, but I like where it's going right now. But the reason I read this is because, P.S., whatever happened to Slipknot? And he's like, Doc, recently we've grown quite fond of the sensible violence in the depicted tale of late Suicide Squad. But your comments spark a sizable letter-writing campaign in favor of this. Go in, screw up, lose a team member, get out stories. Then I'll gladly bow to the will of the majority. Howdy, well, folks, how's the readership? Senseless violence or espionage scrap? And they kind of skip over whatever happened to Deadshot. And the next letter they printed, he actually likes the story it's going. Again, he's a longtime fan of Mission Impossible, so he likes the way the storyline is going so far. So they got a letter, someone not liking it, someone that's liking it. But this has been Suicide Squad 57. The next issue is a War of the Gods crossover. We talked about War of the Gods recently over on the Starman Adventure Show, and now we get to talk about it here briefly. I'll probably do next issue as a standalone, just the one story in there. And because 58 starts 59, let me see. 58 is, War of the Gods. So 59, 60, and 61 is the 3-part whatever happened to the Atom story. So I'll probably do those 3 as a one episode. So actually looking at this, we're coming up close to the end. Next issue, 2 episodes. And then after that, we have a new team coming in. So there's only, depends on how I do this, there's probably only 4 or 5 episodes left of the show. So again, I'll do it again when we get to the end, but I want to thank everyone that's been with me though so far. I apologize for all the delays, and I thank you all for your support. Again, we're not done yet. We still got, 4 or 5 episodes to go. We're on episode 67, so we'll see where this ends us. We'll be in the 70s somewhere. So again, thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you for your patience with me. And we're going to go and call the episode here. So send in your letters. Let me know your letters. Send me your emails. Let me know what you think. You can email me at taskforcex@headspeaks.com. Again, taskforcex@headspeaks.com. Check us out. Again, we're at my website currently is headcast.headspeaks.com. As I think I may have mentioned before, I had problems with my head. My Headcast network headspeaks.com site, billing issues and email issues. Anyways, long story, but I've got headspeaks.com, and on there I've got a subpage for the Headcast Network. So go to headspeaks.com and click on the link for Headcast Network, or just go to headscast.headspeaks.com. And there'll be a drop down for all my shows. Go ahead and check out which one you want, and let me know what you think. Are you still enjoying the show? Are you liking the books? I'd love to hear from somebody. But until next month, that'll do it for this time. Squad mates, dismissed. Thank you for listening to another great episode of Task Force X. I can also be found rambling on my main headcast of Head Speaks, where I rant and rave about movies, comics, geek stuff, and whatever is bugging me.
Mate, you just out-crazied the Joker.
Well, I tried, Boomer, but anyways, my home on the internet is at headspeaks.com. HEADSPEAKS.com. Links to my blog, which contain follow-up information to this and every headcast, can be found there. Both Task Force X and Headspeaks are on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at headspeaks.com under Headcasts. Please feel free to email me any questions, comments, or concerns to taskforcex@headspeaks.com. And if you want to record a message, you can send it to me at taskforcex@headspeaks.com, and I'll play it on the air. I'm also on Facebook at Task Force X, and also on Google+, you can look for Task Force X under People and Pages. All titles and characters discussed are owned and copyrighted by DC Comics. I claim no ownership to the Suicide Squad, Checkmate, or Task Force X. I'm just a big fan wanting to spread the Task Force X love with everyone else. DC Comics can be found on the web at dccomics.com. Be sure to visit your local comic shop and look for Suicide Squad and Checkmate Comics. And while you're there, see what else they have that may interest you.
Mother.
Well, make sure you join us here next time for another fun-filled headcast from your friendly neighborhood Brotherhead. In the meantime, I'll see you in the funny pages.
Yippee!